This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
They are tariffing the entire world in peacetime.
I don't think it was good for Republicans.
He did a very clever job of campaigning heavily on affordability.
So many people complain out there, but they don't show up on election day.
He's picking up trash in the bleachers with just a little 5-gallon bucket.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. You are in for a humsinger of a drive home today with the wind outside. It's a bit like that. About 4,000 in the dark in New York and 1,900 in Pennsylvania because of winds gusting to 60 miles an hour. That is the strength of a tropical storm. WSTM meteorologist Peter Hall is in Syracuse.
Maximum wind gusts late afternoon and Wednesday evening will likely be to at least 50 miles per hour for all lower elevations and valleys. Higher terrain and near the shoreline of Lake Ontario all have an opportunity of regular wind gusts to 60 miles per hour.
We're already seeing it. Clinton, New York and Oneida County clocking a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust today. 61 recorded in Chittenango, 55 in Baldwinsville and Syracuse. There are high wind warnings all across New York and 80% of Pennsylvania until 8 a.m. tomorrow. It was an important day at the U.S. Supreme Court. Justices heard arguments over whether or not Donald Trump exceeded his authority with tariffs. The White House used an emergency law to impose them. Attorney Neil Katyal argued for the businesses that have sued because the tariffs are hurting them.
They are tariffing the entire world in peacetime, and they are doing it, asserting a power that no president in our history has ever had.
CBS correspondent Jan Crawford.
If Trump loses this case, it could be hugely significant because there's an argument that the administration, the government would have to refund over $100 billion in tariffs that it has collected.
It is a test of executive power with implications for the global economy. President Trump had a few words to say today about socialist Zohran Mamdani's win in New York City last night and the blue landslide in Virginia and New Jersey.
I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening, and we learned a lot.
Wall Street Journal reporter Jerry Baker says Republicans have to end the government shutdown or it will keep hitting them in elections.
I think the more general impression that people have is the government shut down. They don't blame the Democrats, even though they should, because it is the Democrats who are actually withholding the votes to get the government to reopen again. They blame the Republicans because the Republicans control Washington. They have the White House. They have both houses of Congress. And they don't like this sense of disorder.
Baker told Fox News he predicts Mamdani won't be able to deliver on many of his promises, like rent freezes and free bus fares citywide.
He did a very clever job of campaigning, trying to distance himself from some of the extreme positions he's adopted in the past on the police, on Israel, on some of these other woke issues, and came campaigning heavily on affordability, which, as I say, is the big concern that people have. Then he did that by promising a whole bunch of things that he can't possibly deliver. Socialist economics never made any sense. They don't make any sense right now.
A little more on the government shutdown. It is now officially the longest in history. 36 days and counting. Aviation consultant Chris Van Cleve says the gridlock could bring the travel industry to a halt during the busy holiday travel season.
An awful lot of commerce moves in the bellies of airplanes. Everything from car parts to pharmaceuticals to e-commerce packages. All of that has the risk of being disrupted if the planes can't get from point A to point B.
President Trump is imploring Senate Republicans to eliminate the filibuster so the government can reopen with a simple majority vote. That's something Senate Republicans are hesitant to do. Federal investigators have arrived in Louisville, Kentucky after the crash yesterday of a UPS plane. 9 people are dead, and that number could grow. Mayor Craig Greenberg spoke directly to families impacted by the tragedy.
I know there's simply no words that can undo what happened, that can provide true comfort at this moment with lack of information and pain that you're feeling.
The plane crashed at takeoff and had just been filled with fuel, sparking a massive fire. And it was 75 years ago today, November 5th, 1950, that Billy Graham made his first transmission of the gospel message over North American airwaves.
Here's the tragedy in the Christian church today, that terrible tragedy. When my little boy said his first words, he said, "Dad." We were thrilled to death. But suppose 20 years from now, he would still come up to me and say, "Dad."
Graham said it's a travesty when Christians don't do the work to grow their faith.
But suppose 20 years from now, he would still come up to me and say, "Dad." There are many of you that same way. You're still going around after 20 years of being a Christian saying, "Dad." You haven't learned the Bible? The Christian life is one of growth.
Billy Graham's radio and TV ministries grew to reach an estimated 2.2 billion people across the span of his lifetime. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a quick tally of Tuesday's election results, a new hospital coming to Western New York, and did you see the spiral in the sky? We'll tell you what it was after a peek at weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. For tonight, showers and wind this evening, diminishing overnight, low temps 30s. Could be a few flakes late tonight or tomorrow morning over the high ground. Otherwise, tomorrow, clouds, sunny breaks, a couple of showers, and chilly in the 40s. Friday, early sun then cloudy with later day and nighttime rain and wind. High temperatures Friday in the 50s.
Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Local and statewide election results are in. By a 2-1 margin, Pennsylvania voters have retained 3 liberal Supreme Court justices in Tuesday's off-year elections. The vote preserves Democrats' 5-2 majority on the state's highest court. These voters tell WJAC why they made time to cast a ballot.
So many people complain out there, but they don't show up on election day, and I always make sure that I'm here regardless of what the situation is.
It's also important for young voters to get out there so our voices are heard, and it's not like just one generation that determines everything for us.
In New York, Democrats won mayoral races in Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse, while Republicans were victorious in Binghamton. The city of Corning elected its first ever female mayor in Democrat Pam Walker. There are plans to build a brand new hospital in Western New York. Here's Family Life's Mark Webster.
Yeah, Kaleida Health has submitted plans to the state to construct a $223 million hospital in northern Chautauqua County. The 133,000 square foot facility would be built in Fredonia. Construction could begin as early as next year. The concept was first floated in 2016 after Kaleida affiliated with nearby Brooks Hospital in Dunkirk, which would close once the new hospital opens. If final approvals and financing are secured, what would be called Northern Chautauqua Hospital could open its doors in 2028. Mark Webster, Family Life News.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul has yet to decide whether she will sign a physician-assisted suicide bill. If enacted, it would make the Empire State the 12th state to allow the terminally ill to kill themselves with the aid of a doctor. In Canada, where the practice is legal, 5% of all deaths are the result of euthanasia. New York's so-called medical aid in dying bill does not include a residency requirement. That means any U.S. citizen could travel to New York to legally kill themselves. Governor Hochul says she's still reviewing the legislation that passed the New York State Senate in early June. And did you see it? Many in New York and Pennsylvania reported seeing an odd swirl in the sky around 6 p.m. yesterday. What some thought might be from outer space was actually a leftover from something heading into space. WSYR meteorologist Kate Thornton in Syracuse tells us what it was.
It was a rocket. Remember a couple weeks ago we saw the Falcon 9? Well, this was from the European Space Agency, their Ariane 6 rocket. This was actually launched from South America, and we were able to see it in the Northeast.
The rocket was carrying a weather satellite into orbit. Next at 5, Inside Out with our own Martha Menekas Foster. Today, a discussion on identity, the why behind mass shootings, and why we respond negatively to those we disagree with. Let's listen in.
My guest today is Abdu Murray, who focuses on Christian apologetics and evangelism as the founder of the organization Embrace the Truth. Abdu, today's culture seems to feed shooting after shooting. Abdu, how do you think we got here?
how we got here. We're currently immersed in a post-truth culture. And a post-truth culture doesn't deny that truth exists. It simply says truth isn't as important as my feelings and my preferences. And so our sense of identity is not based on objective truth, but it's based on feelings. In fact, those particular feelings in that particular moment. And so truth, when it challenges our feelings, has to be suppressed. But what ends up happening is we treat other people not based on being a being that is made in God's image that has an objective value apart from their ideas. No, what happens now is we equate someone's ideas with the person themselves. So if we hate their idea, and we're entitled to hate ideas, but now we hate the person as well. And so when we do that, it fosters the ability to eradicate an idea by eradicating a person. But also it leaves us hollow because we don't know who and what we are anymore. So loneliness and despair and anger take over. And that is the impetus, I think, for these mass instances of violence, whether it's assassinations of public figures on campuses or it's shooting of kids at school. It's because we don't know who we are and we don't value them anymore either.
Do you see Christians now, today, working together to end school shootings, mass attacks, public violence?
So I do see that there are Christians who care deeply about the violence we're seeing in our schools and in our communities. We're disagreeing right now on how we can actually change that. But I think there's a fundamental agreement that if we start to live out and actually inculcate a sense of objective human value in our kids, that can be the beginning of working together because we all agree on that. And that I think also we need to care deeply about language. Words carry tons of weight and matter very much to God, the Word made flesh. And so we need to take care about how we refer to other people. We can oppose their ideas. We can even call them adversaries. But when we start calling them and those people and evil and these kind of things, we run a risk of using careless words. And it's not only to our society that we are called to account, but we also call to our Savior on that account.
You can subscribe, listen to, and share Inside Out and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Annuities are often advertised as a safe way to guarantee income for life. Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. An annuity is a contract with an insurance company. You give them a lump sum, and in return, they promise regular payments. That sounds appealing, especially if you're worried about outliving your savings. But before you sign, you need to know the downsides. Annuities can be complex, expensive, and often lock up your money for years. Fees and surrender charges reduce your returns, and you may miss out on growth during strong market years. That's why I rarely recommend them, except in very specific cases. Before committing to any product, be sure you fully understand it. Stewardship means choosing clarity and freedom over complexity so you can serve God's kingdom. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, something you don't usually see in the stands after a football game. A cool story on serving after one last look at weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. A cold front delivered wind and showers to the region this afternoon and will still be a factor this evening. In the wake of the front, chilly air will be the story tomorrow. Two more systems are on the docket. One bringing some rain and wind is the expectation later Friday night. And a third, that's on Sunday with rain. That'll flip to snow for some spots, or at least snow showers and local lake effect early next week as the chilliest air of the season to date arrives. So for tonight, showers and wind this evening, diminishing overnight, low temps 30s. Could be a few flakes late tonight or tomorrow morning over the high ground. Otherwise tomorrow, clouds, sunny breaks, a couple of showers, and chilly in the 40s. Friday, early sun, then cloudy with later day and nighttime rain and wind. High temperatures Friday in the 50s.
Thank you, Kevin. Finally at 5, the best highlight from a recent Friday night high school football game in Louisiana happened well after the final whistle. Long after a packed crowd had left the stadium, a now viral photo taken by the home team's coach shows two figures in the stands. One was the custodian tasked with cleaning up all the trash left behind by the crowd, and the other was number 23, freshman running back Hudson Clavel, holding a trash bag to help.
I see Mr. Brian, we call him Mr. B, my custodian, and he's picking up trash in the bleachers with just a little 5-gallon bucket. It was just him picking up a bunch of trash, and I just wanted to give him a hand.
His coach calls it the play of the game.
Just incredible. It's nothing that we did. It's just the way Hudson was raised, and no one told him to do that. And it was a decision to do the right thing and to help somebody out, and we couldn't be more proud.
But Hudson says it was really no big deal.
That's what I like to do. I mean, it wasn't much, just picking up a little trash.
The kind of trash talk we could use a little more of in sports. And that's the world that we live in for Wednesday, the 5th of November. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.